Um, Next, let me turn to an incident that occurred on November 16th, 9 days ago. In the morning, this is at the Main Street station on the Green Line. You've no doubt seen it in the news or heard of it. It involves the separation of a child, a 3-year-old child, from their father. Aaron Bailey is the father's name. And what I'd like to do is to walk through with you our investigation of what actually happened and where we are in the process. At first, it appeared as if, based on the operator's report, as I understand it, that there may have been a malfunction in the intercom. But before you can get into the intercom issue, let me just walk through what happened. And some of this is by video and reports of witnesses as well. The father and his 3-year-old son their hands were clasped. They are a regular rider of Max. This isn't an issue about not quite understanding how it worked. The father did everything exactly as he should have. What happens is the doors were open at the Main Street station going toward Gateway, so heading north. The child broke away, and just as he apparently was going out the door, he hit the yellow button. The yellow button is the button, if you're familiar, to call for the deployment of the lift, of the bridge plate that allows for a person with a wheeled device to be able to be using a mobility device or possibly even a stroller or other things. What happens at that point is that the door closes, because of course what you don't want somebody is on the lift plate and bridge plate as it's moving. So the door automatically closes with that action. At this point, the 3-year-old is outside and the father is inside. Normally then what happens is, under normal circumstances, the bridge plate would go out, or the door would close, the bridge plate would go out, the door would reopen. All the other doors are open at this stage because they're not affected by that specific call for the bridge plate at that one door. It appears that what happened partway through that cycle of the bridge plate deploying was that the operator pushed a button that essentially allows for the doors to close. And you can imagine that in settings where the doors, people are kind of keeping them open on purpose, waiting for some of their friends or whatever else. There has to be some way to be able to ultimately close the doors. They always would be, by the way. There's a pressure point on the door that if there's anything that's blocking it, they obviously reopen. This isn't a safety issue relative to that. But it appears that the operator then pressed the button to be able to close the doors. And the 3-year-old was outside the vehicle, the father inside. A very, very savvy and good Samaritan, Orianne Green is her name, was there, a 22-year-old, who seen what happened and took the boy's hand and just stayed with him, the 3-year-old. At that point, the father, obviously very, very concerned, goes to the intercom and attempts to be able to contact the operator. And this is a normal intercom system. We do checking of it all the time to make sure that it's working, and they are very reliable. What actually happened in this, and we were able to recreate this by the database that are within the vehicle themselves. The individual called on for the operator. The operator has to acknowledge that by one button, and within 1 second cancels that call. That happens 3 times. That is, the call is made and acknowledged, and within a second it is canceled by the operator. The 3rd or the 4th time that call is made, the operator acknowledges it but leaves it open rather than canceling. That has the effect of allowing that one emergency uses in other parts of the vehicle. And obviously, you have to have that if you're going to have a conversation. You can't have 5 conversations. But it appears that the operator did that as a way to, because he does not communicate at this point. He does that as, it appears, as a way to be able to avoid having to be able to have that communication with anybody on the vehicle. Once the doors are closed, he is then able to leave the station, and he pulls away from the station, goes into Gateway, at which point the father comes to the window, and I would assume probably somewhat heated, but certainly trying to be able to explain what had happened. And the operator closed the window and drives out of Gateway, operates out of Gateway. All of these things, obviously, are absolutely against policy. The requirement is, if there is notice of a separation, that the immediate call has to go to the dispatch. And what then happens is everybody in the vicinity is alerted. So even a train operator who might be coming in to that platform from the opposite direction, any road or rail supervisor, what we now just call field supervisors that are around, immediately will go to that site to be able to secure the individual, to be sure that they can get reunited with whoever it is, depending on which way it is, parent or child off of the train. The operator did not do that in this case, as has been reported. Fortunately, Ms. Green stayed with the child there at that Main Street platform. The father caught a train going the other direction and was reunited with his son within 7 minutes. And so, although that's relatively short time, obviously to a parent who's separated from their child, that seems like an eternity. The actions we have taken internally, one, we obviously did our full investigation. As I said, this incident occurred just 9 days ago. On Monday of this week, the operator was in. We presented the operator as per our union contract we must do with the information we had, and indicated that he needed to return to TriMet for a meeting, a disciplinary meeting, which is occurring today at 10 a.m., and that discipline, we need to obviously notify them of what it can include, and that the discipline would be could up to and include termination. That hearing will go on 10 o'clock, and then at the conclusion of that, a decision will be made about what action to be able to take. We consider this to be exceedingly serious. It is something that obviously not only violates policy over and over again, but it is just appears to be able to just be willful ignoring of a setting in which an individual, a father, very, very distressed, and this is very, very troubling. So I'll stop with that and answer any questions. Obviously, we'll get a call here as soon as the proceedings are concluded, but and I can let you know the outcome. As I indicated, we consider this to be very serious, and the individual, there have been some difficulties in the past, not obviously as serious, and most recently involving another worker, not